if we really want to understand what is so powerful and unique about Rosh Hashanah, not only Rosh Hashanah compared to any ordinary day of the year, but even Rosh Hashanah compared to the other days that are part of the Aseres Yemei Teshuvah, the 10 days of Teshuvah, then we need to understand that there are various experiences that we could have in our relationship with Hashem. And there are two sides to that. There's our experience as we go through that experience, and there's what Hashem shares with us that facilitates that particular experience. Now, if that sounds a little bit abstract, let's look at it this way. We've spoken about mitzvahs, and we've spoken about teshuvah. And the big difference between a mitzvah and teshuvah is the difference between the things that Hashem wants us to do, the mitzvahs. So if, of course, we do them, that consolidates our relationship with Him. Whereas if we don't, God forbid, do them, then that could obstruct our relationship with Him. And then teshuvah, we've explained, is when we dig deeper and we discover that between us there's a very powerful love and a very deep connection that can survive the fact that we haven't necessarily done what was on the expectation list from us, and that allows us to find our way back, like a parent and a child, where the child is perhaps misbehaved and there have to be consequences, and maybe the parent is upset, but there's something deeper than that relationship based on behavior, and that's why they can find their way back together, and the parent will love the child unconditionally despite what the child has done. So both of those experiences fall into what we call in Hasidus an experience of Giluyim. Giluyim means things that can be shared or things that can be revealed. So let's understand what that means. First of all, if I want you to do something, until you know that, it is not goloi, it is not revealed to you. So it's pretty useless for me to get upset at you if you're not doing something that I really wanted you to do, if I never told you to do it. So giloi is useful. It helps us to know the rules of engagement. I express myself and I say, these are the things that I expect, whether it's when I write a contract with an employee or when I tell my children that this is the kind of behavior that they should conform to. That's what Hashem has done for us with the mitzvahs. He said, I'd like to reveal to you a roadmap of what's going to create relationship between us and what's going to allow you to reach your potential, to develop yourself, to become a more spiritually mature human. And if we follow those rules, if we follow that guidebook, we can expect the results that are promised. So do these things and you will feel a greater spiritual connection. Do these things and you'll be a more mature human being. Do these things and you will have a more meaningful relationship with me. So that is what we call giloi. It's a revealed, it's an open, it's a discernible point of contact between us. Now, anything which is goloi, anything which has been revealed, is subject to potential damage. Meaning to say, if I reject and I say, I'm not interested, I don't know, I don't want to do what you expect of me, well then I've also, begoloi, openly said, I'm sticking my heels in, and I don't want to have this relationship. Now, that's a damaging attitude to take. And if the relationship is based on these very clear, defined principles, and I reject any of those principles, well, then I'm effectively rejecting that part of our relationship. Teshuvah is also revealed at some point, meaning to say, when we're going about our business day to day, we don't necessarily realize how deep our relationship with God is, because it's not necessarily challenged. But when we look in the mirror at this time of the year, as we prepare ourselves for Rosh Hashanah, and we say, oh my gosh, there are things on this list, this roadmap that Hashem has given me, and I haven't really followed those things, and as a result of that, there's damage to our relationship, and I'd like to repair that damage. Now I've got to reveal, again, it's the same principle, I've got to reveal something about myself that I didn't necessarily know that I had. I have to dig a little bit deeper and discover that beneath the surface, beneath my laissez-faire attitude, beneath the surface of my rejection, my rebellion, my hang-ups, my resentment, there's actually a very deep connection. Let's say that there's been a breakdown in relationship between a parent and a child, and then they reconcile. So it's at that point that they discover and they reveal blood is thicker than water. There's something about us that is even more powerful than the run-in that we had, the disagreement that we had, the screaming match that we had, the period of time that we were distant from each other. There's something actually deeper to our relationship, and I am revealing that. So Teshuvah does that. Teshuvah allows us to discover, you know what? Even though there are things that Hashem has done to me that I wasn't so happy with, or there are things that I did to Hashem that I'm sure He's not so happy with, I've now revealed that there's a deeper dimension to our relationship. That is something we can tap into any day of the year, specifically in the month of Elul, and certainly in the 10 days of Teshuvah. Rosh Hashanah, will create the opportunity to discover something that is so deep, it's actually not revealable. And that's a fascinating concept, which we'll explore further.